Welcome everyone, Dylan Gemelli here today with a brand new video for you. So today we're going to talk about how to effectively use Masteron. And I'll talk about enanthate and propionate in terms of the dosing schedules. But Masteron in itself, we're just going to talk about how to effectively use it. But before we get into that, I have to reiterate, I'm not a doctor. So anything I say in these videos is for your entertainment purposes only. I'm not advising nor condoning you to use any of the things that we discuss whatsoever, and what you do with this information is completely and utterly up to you. So let's talk about Masteron now. This is important on so many levels. I want to start with this. A lot of times you'll read people telling you that you should not use Masteron if you are not under 10% body fat. You'll see it on a lot of forums. Now, do I agree with this? Yes and no. Here's what I'm saying. Can you use it if you're over 10% body fat? Absolutely. Will you see some benefits from it? Yes, you will. Will you get the full benefits from it? Not likely. Let me explain. The main purpose for Masteron is that it's an aesthetic. All right, it's mainly used for extreme muscle hardening, accentuating of vascularity, things of that nature. People think that it's some miraculous fat loss drug, which it is not. It can dry you out. It has anti-estrogen properties which help to dry out. But to get that full benefit, to get that full sculpting, that full icy hard look, you need to be in good condition to start. It's hard to sculpt a body at a higher body fat because it's not a fat stripper. Okay? Can it give you strength? Yes. Can it boost your libido? Yes. Can it lower your SHBG? Yes. Could it still give you vascularity even at a higher body fat? Yes. Could you see some muscle hardening? Yes. But will you get the full, and I'm talking the full benefit from it, not as nearly as good as you would at a lower body fat? If you take a guy that's 8 to 10% body fat or a guy that's 13 to 15, and you put them both on Masteron, the guy that's 8 to 10 is going to definitely show a lot more in terms of the hardening because he's already in a very lean position where a person at a higher body fat is not. But I don't want to be one of those guys because many years ago, admittedly, I was one of those guys that said, oh, you just should never use it. A lot of people argued with me, and then I really sat and thought about what I was saying, analyzed it, compared it person to person to person, instead of just going with the flow with everybody else. Sometimes you got to stand out on your own if you want to really make a difference and an impact and show that you know what you're talking about. I'm the first one to admit mistakes I've made in the past. Thinking, judging, being a jerk, all of that. If you don't admit those, you never grow. And you can't be looked upon as someone that people look up to or believe in. I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. No one's perfect. But I feel that I do know a lot about what I'm doing, and part of that is because I admit my mistakes and learn from them. But that's off topic. So now that we got that part, how about dosing? Well, and how about anti-estrogen properties before I get into that? It has properties, but it does not mean it replaces an aromatase inhibitor, but it might allow you to dose it lower. Definitely might, especially people that aren't estrogen prone. Or if you're using Aromacin, maybe switch to Arimidex, something a little bit lighter. But it does not replace it. But keep in mind that it could affect it, and you may not need as much AI if you're not as estrogen prone. Dosing. You don't want to go too low on this. You guys know I'm a conservative doser when I recommend things. However, Masteron, Primobolan, Equipoise, these are ones that need to be ran a little higher. If you run an enanthate, twice a week injections, 500 to 600 milligrams is a sweet spot. I don't have any particular issue going up to 800 with it. It's not as necessary, but I don't, if you tell me, oh, I'm going to run DEC at 800 or test, I got a big issue, but Masteron I don't. 500-600 sweet spot. So if you're going with the propionate, 150 milligrams every other day is perfect. Absolutely perfect. Even up to 200. But 150 every other day is perfect. 100 milligrams every other day is a little low. Okay? 350, 400 a week on enanthate, it's a little low. If you're running enanthate, 12 to 14 weeks is a great. Propionate, you can run it as long as you want, 12, 14 weeks. But if you're not a fan of pinning and you want to run a shorter cycle, 8 to 10 weeks is more than sufficient. Perfect for contest prep. We know that. That's one of its main focuses and uses. But a lot of people get confused on the dosing. A lot of people get confused on whether or not it's going to be something that's going to benefit them or not. And a lot of people have misconceptions on it. It's not some ultimate fat loss drug, okay? No steroid is an ultimate fat loss drug. Could it help you lose some stubborn fat? Sure. The more lean muscle you get, the more drying out you get, sure, you can lose some fat. But you're not going to lose 30, 40 pounds on it. When I say steroids aren't fat burners, that's what I mean. Because when you think of a fat burner, you think of some miraculous weight loss pill or promise or whatever. Misconception. That's not it with Masteron. Masteron is an aesthetic first and foremost, okay? Mainly used to accentuate your physique, to bring out more cuts, more popping abs, more vascularity, more drying out. So yes, the leaner you are, the more you're going to get from it. But it does not mean it won't be effective. It just means it won't be as effective. So that's Masteron, 500-600 milligrams a week, sweet spot dosing. Definitely ideal where you want to be. No issue whatsoever seeing people take it to 800. That is how to effectively use Masteron. So, that being said, www.icearms.com/forums. I'm also in the Evolutionary Forum as well as the Elite Fitness Forum. Dylan at icearms.com is where you can get me with all questions and comments. And please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. That being said, stay tuned for plenty more to come. Dylan Gemelli, signing off.